Good day, everyone. So today we are be talking about post-impressionism. Topic outline will be the introduction, and of course we also have our post-impressionists, who are mainly of Van Gogh, Paul Gauguin, Paul Cézanne, and of course Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec. What is post-impressionism? By emphasizing geometric or twisted forms and choosing more unusual colors that they associated with great emotional significance, artists began to reject Impressionism's constraints. Because, from the word itself, post-Impressionism, which means after the Impressionism, because Impressionism uses just neutral colors while Post-Impressionism uses more vivid, which creates or conveys a more meaningful and, of course, more symbolic one to the viewers, and of course, a deeper connection between them. Now, may we proceed to the Post-Impressionists, Paul Cézanne, Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec, Vincent van Gogh, and of course, Paul Gauguin.
For our first post-impressionist artist, Paul Cézanne, his works and ideas were influential in the aesthetic development of many 20th century artists and art movements, especially Cubism. Cézanne's art grew out of Impressionism and eventually challenged all the conventional values of painting in the 19th century. So, Paul Cézanne was a French painter whose works and ideas were influential in the aesthetic development of the many 20th artists and art movements. Two of his paintings were the Mont Saint Victor and the Viaduct of the Arc River Valley. So this is a panoramic view of a delicate, tranquil beauty. Admirable is the thought of opposing to the distant landscape the high tree in the foreground. A form through which the near and far, the left and right, become more sharply defined, each with its own mood and dominant. Cézanne opened up space for a new relationship to the motif through the exploration of the dynamics of vision in relation to proximity or distance, breaking contours and insisting the flatness of the image. His second painting would be The Fisherman, or the fantastic scene. The composite image of fishermen and elegantly attired strollers along a sunlit shore derives from paintings of outdoor leisure. So he was captivating his work by showcasing his transition from Impressionism to Post-Impressionism. This painting depicts fishermen engaged in their craft set against a dreamlike and almost mystical landscape. The composition highlights his experimentation with form and perspective, which would later influence modern art movements like Cubism. Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec, his work is noteworthy for its bold use of color juxtapositions that lend each image a strong visual impression accompanied by textures from careful application embellishments on each piece, showcasing an attention to detail that only further underscores his artistic genius. His first painting would be the At the Moulin Rogue, one of his most iconic works, capturing the vibrant and lively atmosphere of the famous Parisian cabaret. The painting depicts a group of patrons and performers inside the Moulin Rouge, a popular nightclub in Montmartre, Paris. So, this painting focuses on the interaction between the crowd and the performers, emphasizing the characters' personalities through their postures and expressions. His second work would be La Toilette, or The Toilet. The toilet captures an intimate moment of a woman's daily life. The depicted scene is focused on a single figure, showing the subject from behind us as she engages in her personal grooming.
Of course, next we will be talking about Vincent van Gogh. Van Gogh knew that his approach to painting was individualistic, but he also knew that some tasks are beyond the power of isolated individuals to accomplish. That's why he had his friend, Paul Gauguin, to help him or to collaborate with him. Van Gogh is more inclined on the movement of the eyes of the audience to look around the painting. Of course, his first art for this video, Cafe Terrace at Night, dated 1888. Using constructing contrasting colors and tones, Van Gogh achieved a more luminous surface that pulses with an interior light, almost in defiance of the darkening sky. The lines of the composition all point to the center of the work. It helps us to focus on the cobblestones, which makes us feel that we're walking on it, or to be walking to the restaurant. And of course, the other one is The Starry Night. Unlike most of these artworks, Starry Night was painted from memory. Take note, memory, and not out in the landscape. The emphasis on interior emotional life is clear in his wording, followed with the strict principle of art structure and composition. He rendered through curves and lines, its seeming chaos subverted by a rigorous formal arrangement. As we can see in the painting, it helps us to focus not just on one part, but it helps us to move our eyes around the painting to be able to follow the lines. Of course, the brush strokes are more meaningful because they give us the sense of solidarity. Next is Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin is one of the most significant French artists in Impressionism, but he is the one who broke away and focused on post-Impressionism movement. As Impressionist movement was culminating in the late 1880s, Gauguin experimented with new color theories with vivid colors. His legacy rests partly in his dramatic decision. His major artworks are Vision After the Sermon. Gauguin depicted a rural biblical scene of praying women envisioning Jacob wrestling with an angel. Gauguin relied upon the abstraction of the red ground to communicate the space of the vision as well as the heightened emotions present at a religious revelation. Next is the Manao to Papu, dated 1892. The actual scenario was inspired by his return home late one night and finding his wife, depicted here naked, and suddenly startled by his strike of a match in all the enveloping darkness. Gauguin introduces a ghostly depiction of a watching female spirit, seemingly harmless, at the foot of the bed, a direct reference to a local folklore describing how such spirits roam the night and forever share the world of the living. Underneath the world of rock solid appearances lies a parallel realm of eternal mystery, spiritual import, and of course, poetic suggestion.
To conclude our report, the predominantly French art movement post-Impressionism was developed roughly between 1886 to 1905, and there are three characteristics of post-Impressionism. First is the emotional symbolism, that it should convey ideas from the artist's subconscious and a means to express state sentiments. And the second would be is the evocative color. Post-Impressionism artists used an artificial color palette to convey their emotionally driven interpretations of the world around them. This includes saturated hues, colorful shadows, and broad ranges of color, demonstrating the painter's inventive and original approach to representation. And lastly, the use of distinctive brush strokes. These marks not only highlight the artistic elements of the piece, indicating that it is not meant to be a realistic representation of its topic. So, post-Impressionism paved the way for the development of modern art by emphasizing the emotional and symbolic content of their subjects, exploring new techniques and forms, and laying the groundwork for the diverse movements that would follow in the 20th century.
Thank you guys for listening. And here are the available resources for you to check.